going to continue with the fifth of the fifth Tikunei, which we started last week, which is difficult, very difficult. So we'll just do the best we can and explain it the best we are able to do. Let's just go back a little bit. Similar to some of the earlier tikkunim, we were interested in the breaking up the word bereshis to the beit and then reshis. Beit is the beginning. So previously we had run the beit as bina. So this time the tikkun is interested in the fact that the beit has a nakuda, has a dagish in it, right? So we said when the beit is the first letter of the word, it in general has a dagish here, but we're interested in exploring and developing this nakuda, this point in the middle of the beit, which it says is the point of the nakuda in the palace, which is a closed thought. So as we're going to go on, we're going to see that from this point is going to become the gilui, the revealing of the divine name, the Yakov. The revealing of the divine name, Yakov, is really the beginning of the Almighty revealing his revelation to the world, first in the higher world of the Tzidus, and from them to the lower world. And we'd be interested in how from this letter of Yud will come the four letters of the divine name, which is the Yud Kei Vav Kei. So there will be as we learn, there are various ways that we're going to learn how the four letters of the Yud Kei Vav Kei come from this initial point. We said that within the beit is a point. We said it was closed and then it was opened, and the point is the Yud. Now, I'm just trying to explain things as an introduction. It's the Yud in the beit represents the first revelation of the divine, so that is a single point. Yud is like one, right? It's a single. The first separation, therefore, we're going to, when we live in a multiple world, which is really starts from being a binary world, right? The whole world that we live in is because we have binary. We have right and left, we have male and female, we have day and night, and then from there come to all the other things. So from the Yud, which is single, is going to come two aspects. And perhaps the first revelation of the binary, the two aspects, going to be what we call Hasidim and Gvuras. Hasidim comes from the right side, which is usually this side, we call it the love of the, and Gvuras is from the left side, which is going to be the side of strength, God, the strength, however we want to learn. So we will see, and this is, I'm just trying to explain as we go along, because this is how I understand it, we will see a progression from the Yud, which is 10, because in addition to shapes and forms, the letters also have numerical values. So the 10, the Yud is 10, will break up into two 5s, right? Which will be two Heys, because the letter Hey is 5. So therefore, we could say from the Yud will become a Hey and another Hey, and the two Heys will be connected by a line, which is a Vav. So therefore, from the Yud, we might already see that we're going to have a Yud, then a Hey, then a line which comes from the first Hey, which is evolved to the second Hey. So I already have Yud Kevok, I already have the divine name coming from an expansion, so to speak, of the letter Yud. Okay,
What's the number of
6. So that's very important as well, because the in the aspect of a man, right? So we're going to, in the Sfirot, we have the higher Sfirot, which represents the head, and then that's the 3, and then the body represents the body, which is 6, which is the right hand side. The right, if you look at a body, there's 6 essential aspects of a body. The right arm, the left, which is Chesed, the left arm, which is Gvura, the central body, which is Tiferes, and then Netzach, which is the right leg, Chod, which is the left leg, and Yesod, which is the sexual organ. So that central body has 6 points, and it's always called Vak, right? We've learned that before. Vak is 6, it's first 6 directions, because space is also has 6 directions, right? North, south, east, west, up and down. So that's like 6 is a central expansion. Okay, but to explain that, because we're going to have to get into these letters, and we'll do the best we can, or the best I'm capable of doing, of explaining. So we'll continue from where we left off, which says, "V'chamesh zimnim or inen ba'uvdud v'reshus." 6 times the word "or" appears in the beginning of Ma'aseh Bereshis. In the first day, it says, "Yehi or." You might say, "Let there be light." And then it says, "Vayehi or," and there was light. Vayar Elokim et ha'or, and the Almighty saw the light. That's 3. V'yavdil Elokim ben ha'or, and he made a difference between the light. V'yikra Elokim lo'or, and he called it also. Now we straight away, the very beginning of creation, where we have the revelation of light in the world of darkness. Remember, we've said that the world of Bereshis, before the Tikkun, before it was fixed, was dark, right? We have all the higher worlds, which are divine, to the world of Atzilus, which is all divine. Then we know from the Kabbalah that we have what's called the death of the kings and the breaking of the vessels, and everything falls down to a lower world. And that world is the world of darkness. And then in Ma'aseh Bereshis, that's called the Tikkun of Bereshis, the fixing of Bereshis, the Almighty fixes the lower worlds, and He brings light. He brings light into it. So we see straight away in the very beginning that it says 5 times that He brought light into the world. Rin and Hay, and that's Hay. And on that it is said, so he brings the pasuk in Ishiyahu. So it's very, there's no coincidence, of course, or coincidence. The association of facts. So this pasuk comes from Nachamu, which Nachamu is the pasuk we're going to say after Tisha B'Av. Nachamu, which is very beautiful. So I thought I would read a little bit of it. It says, Nachamu, Amen. It says, comfort my people. It's after it. Says the Almighty. And then we have a wonderful description of how in the future the Almighty will indeed console us and bring us consolation. So it says, which we're going to know, it says, speak to the heart of Yerushalayim, etc. And then it says, a voice comes from the wilderness, clear the way, because the Almighty is coming. And now it says, and now we're going, and now the prophet is talking of It's announcing the future revelation of the Almighty. And he talks, gives the Almighty, he says he's like a shepherd who grazes his flock, who gathers the lambs in his arm, carries them in his bosom, who guides all the nursing young. And now, this is the verse of the Zohar. Mi maded b'shalo mayim u'shemayim v'zeret tikrin. Who measures the waters b'sha'alo? Now he translates it as the palm, but other people, the word shallow, other people don't say it. Maybe like the womb or the rechem. It's a very unusual word. But it says that the Almighty measures the water in his palm or his womb, and the heavens he also measures with a zeret, which is, I believe, half an amma, which he translates as a span, and he says, a zeret tikain, he measured it also, and now it goes on, and he says, the kol v'sholish afahat, and he measures with a thing called a sholish, which is related to that for 3, but it's a very large vessel apparently. He measures all the earth of the land, and he weighs up in a scale the mountains and the hills with the valleys. What's this mean? So the Zohar wants to tell us that this verse is telling us that here there are 5 different measurements. It talks about the Almighty making 5 different measurements of all the mice of creation, all the things that he creates. The waters, the heavens, all the dust of the earth, the mountains and the hills. So all these, so it mentions 5 different aspects of creation, fundamental aspects of creation, right? The very first things we have the water, and then we have the heavens, and then we have the earth, and then we have all the hills and the mountains. So those things he measures in 5 different ways. So that, it wants to say, is the single original revelation of the letter Yud now comes out and breaks up into 5 different aspects. Chamesh, and that's related to the 5 times it says right in the Maaseh Gracious. In other words, that the gracious comes from not just 1, but 5. In other places it says 10. It's 10 things, but here we're interested in the 5. And it says that, and it breaks it up. It says, of this verse, Nimodeh B'Shalom Mayim, who will measure my book says that the Kodesh Baruch Hu knows the depth of the waters of the sea as if he measured them with his fist. He knows them, measures them, and he knows them. And he knows the width of the heavens as if he also, look at this, so the Zohar is very beautiful. It pictures, so to speak, of the Almighty. He creates it, and he knows how deep it is because he knows the depth of because he can measure it. He can measure it either with his fist, or he can measure it with the span of his hand. And he knows the measurement of all the dust of the earth as if he measured it in some vessel. He had like a kli, he had like a pan or a jet. So in the Almighty's terms, he sees that he creates a world in which you can see the depths of the water with his fist, or you can see now we're talking about all the whole weight of all the earth in a pan, and finally he says, and he knows the weight of all the mountains and all the hills as if he weighed them in a scale. Now, and then the Zohar continues, and it says, of that it is said, but now the first thing, when he measures the sea with his fist, whatever, that is with his right hand. Okay? So now that is Middle Chesed, that's the first of these spheroids which are above the first three. The first three are hidden from us and they're related to the head. But in this, from my separation, so from the right hand, he measures the depth of the sea. And then it says, wait, Ihu Gavon Havu. And this is the color of white. Because one aspect of the mystery of creation, in the same way that one letter comes a complicity of letters, and everything from one becomes a complicity. So from light breaks up into color, right? We live in a world of color. We've discussed this before. It's a very deep mystery to me. The transformation of light into color, very deep mystery. So now these five divisions, or these five lights that we talk about in Bereshit, each one which is saying is a measurement, this is the right arm, and that is related, he says, to the color of white. V'shamayim b'zeret tiken, and he can also measure, in other words, can measure all the heavens, like he lifts up his half of his hammer. And there it says, this is with his left hand, with the right hand, really it should have been with the left hand. This is with his left hand, and this is the color of red. That's the color of red. So white comes from the depths of the waters, red comes from the heavens. The card b'shlish afahats, and he weighs with his vessel all the dirt of the earth. This is the Gufa Amuda de Emsayisa, so we said the right hand, the left hand. This is the middle, it's the third, it's the middle part of the body, which is measuring all the Afa of the dirt. And this is green. That's green. Green, the earth brings out green. That, maybe the heavens are red as the sun. Right? The sun is red. And then he weighs up in a measurement the mountains and the valleys in a scale. So these are two, something Kodesh, it says. They are Netzach and Hod, which is, they are the two pillars, right? And they are called, they're the two pillars which support Tiferes, which is called the truth. It says these are the pillars of truth, the pillars that support truth. And now it is Vahai He Ihu Itpashta Madha Bachamesh Gavne. And that does not tell us specifically what those two colors are. But it says this five spreads out to give light in five colors. And these are the 5 times it says or in the light separations in the first. Okay, so the first day we will now see that it's a 5 times light, and 5 measures of light represent 5 aspects of the Adam, so to speak, man, and 5 different colors and 5 different aspects in the world. He doesn't say that. So I said the Zohar doesn't say what the last 2 colors are. It just says that there are another 2 colors. It doesn't say what the 2 colors. But the commentary says that they are black and turquoise. Well, yes and no, but the thing is, you see, that's also difficult because we have white and black in the description of colors, but the spectrum has neither white nor black. So, what?
No, it doesn't. It's not coming to right now with those.
So there's a relationship. There is a relationship between the breakup of colors that the Zohar is teaching us, between the colors of the spectrum, but what that relation is hidden from us at the moment. We don't know. So the commentary adds that the last two are black and Tikunei. You're right, you didn't tell us. No, you didn't miss it. That's why I was saying what the text said. The text says what the first three are, but not the last two. But the commentary adds the last two. Okay. So there now we have five. So that's right at the beginning of creation. 5 times it says light. So that's letter Hey. That's Yud. So now we're going to go a little bit deeper. So the Yud is the meter of the measurement of Ima, of mother. Why? So why does he say that? Well, there's various explanations, but let's just talk a little bit again about Parsufim. Parsufim, we have to try to explain Parsufim. Very difficult aspect. So we said that the evolution is multifaceted. We can look at it as in the aspect of letters. We can look at it in the aspect of names. You'll see in our charts, right? Shalom. So we see different. We have different columns, letters of the divine name, aspects of the neshama, sphere. So one of these divisions is what's called Parsufim. So Parsufim are a family, so to speak, through which the Almighty conducts his worlds, and that the worlds are, each world is broken up, so to speak, in a family, which, although there's 6 parts, the highest one is hidden, and we don't really talk much about it. So the Parsufim is like a family. So the elder of the family, like the grandfather, is called Erech Ampin, which is a long phrase. Then we have a father, and then we have a mother, and then we have Zar. It's a young, short face. It's a young man. He's the protagonist, really. And then we have Nukba, his female, his mate, the female. And let's say that these Parsufim are particularly active, I don't like that word, but are particularly demonstrated in the world of Atzilus. So the world of Atzilus is the world which existed above and before the and is in many ways the source of the creation, because the creation comes from Atzilus, and Atzilus is above creation as we know it. We could call it Ein, it's whatever that means, it's nothing compared to something, and it is divine, but it's just about to come out. That's where the divine name appears. That's where the concept like the Torah appears. That's the source of the souls. That everything is like waiting to come out into the world, which begins in relations. Whereas above that, it's all here. It's all here. But it comes out through these Parsufim, and these Parsufim themselves are higher ones, are hidden. There's even a higher one which is called Atik Yomim, which is like the elder of days. They talk about that, right, in the literature, the elder of days. So, but that's even more hidden. Okay, so now the Parsufim represent, in a way, the progression of the revelation which will culminate in creation. So it starts a very hidden source, which is Erech Ampim, which is where male and female are united. It's very important to understand that, as I said earlier on, since we're living in a binary world, there's a male and female aspect. So that's very true of these Partsufim. There are 5 Partsufim in the 6th commandment. So in the lower 2, the male and the female are separate. We have Zeh Ampin, the young man, and Malchus or Nukba, his mate. And sometimes they come together, and sometimes they don't come together. Zeh Ampin is higher, and it comes, and when the occasion arises, he will mate with his consort, Malchus, and from her will come the whole revelation. So above there is Abba and Ima. So Abba and Ima are also separate in the sense that Abba is a male aspect and Ima is a female aspect. But they're not. But they're together all the time. They're united all the time. So of course, we would in a proper family would expect Abba and Ima united and together. But they're separate but united. But higher than that in Erech Ampim, they're not even separate. There is Erech Ampim is one, but he has a male aspect and a female aspect, but they are not separated, they're united. Above that, in Atik Yomim, there's not even exactly a male aspect and a female aspect, but there's a left side perhaps, or right side, or front or back, but we're not going to get into it. So now the process therefore will be is that everything is hidden, comes from Erech Ampim down to Abba, and he will implant in Ima, and from mother will come children, will come the Ampim, and so therefore it all comes from Ima. Comes to Ima, but it comes from Ima is like the mother, the source. So that's where the Zohar is telling us now, Yud Ihom Mididile, that the letter Yud is the measurement of Ima, because very beautiful the commentary here, because she measures the measurement of the Hasidim and the Boros. I said right at the beginning, we have aspects of love, which are going to be on the right side, and we have aspects of war and law and din, which are going to be on the left side. And he says in the commentary here that she measures them, how much the hashpir to give down to each sphere and sphere, because they're going to be 10 bechinos. That's why it says she's the Yud, because she has these 10 bechinos of 5 and 5. And they are hidden at the moment, included in Ima. And she has to bring them out. So she has to know how much each one can take and how much it's necessary to give to her children. Her mother knows how much she has to nurse, right? And how much she has to give. So that's what the Zohar says, Yud Ihum Mididile. The Yud, the 10 is the measurement, the meter, the quality, the measurement of her, of Ima. Chamesh Ila, Chamesh, or the Hey Ila, so the higher Hey is the 5 lights, and the Hey Tata is the 5 governing, the 5 colors, Denahin Behen Chamesh Or, that they are lit with the 5 lights. So in other words, the light we held, light is higher than color, right? Because light breaks up into color. It descends into color. So within Ima, she has a Yud, which is a 10, which is going to be a 5 lights, and a second 5, a lower 5. So that's a higher Hay and a lower Hay. The Kad it pashes Hay Ila And so the higher A will come now and give light to the lower A. Mi'ad it pashet vav legabe, through the vav. So you could say there is like an anthropomorphic, or there is like a physical. In the mashal, you could say that we have the higher A, right? And then the higher A is going to bring light to the lower A. So how is he going to do that? Through a line. And the line is evolved. So now already I have the Yud, which is the highest in the Ima. And from there it's going to come 5 Chasadim, and which is pure light. And they're going to come through a Vav, through a line to the lower A, which is going to receive the light and break up into colors. So now I already have the Yud Hey Vav. So that's how this Tikkun is explaining how the divine name comes to be revealed. Vada ihu nota shemayim ki'u. And that's the verse which says nota shemayim ki'u, which we say when we put on our talis in the morning, don't we? That he spreads the heavens like a curtain, like a drape, right? So that because previously we learned last week that it is Ota or Salma. It says, first of all, he says he wraps the light around him like a garment, right? And now he spreads it. Now he opens up. So first it's closed in the Yud, when it's hidden, because the Yud is hidden in the first section. And now it spreads out and opens up. So that's what it means. It's Nota Shemayim Ki'u. Devadai kad ihu nehira v'gavnin delay. Because certainly, the Zohar likes to say vadai, like when it says that, but it's certainly right, you can't argue with that. So certainly it says vadai, it says ki vadai, kasha malchut nehira v'gavnin, when Malchut, which is the queen, the consort, gives her light in her colors. So I'm talking about something else in a moment. So they add the Parish adds, although it's not so clear in the text, perhaps to understand the text we need to know this. It says, Vadaki ihi neher of the government, when she gives her light in her colors, Itma Bati said of this, Varisiha Liskor Visoya. So it's beautiful. The pasuk is talking about the rainbow, right? And it says, excuse me, I have to get the right verse. It says, it says, Vaha'isa HaKeshes Ba'anan, and the Keshet, the bow, right, the rainbow, will be in the cloud. Va'itiha, and I will see her, literally, translate, I will look upon it, I will see her, to remember the bris olam, the eternal covenant between the Almighty and between every living soul, everything that is on the land, right? That's what the Almighty says. I will look at the bridge, at the rainbow, the bow. But if you look at the Hebrew, it says, Vahisah Keshipanan, Vahiseh, I will see. So if you want, this is like a classic explanation. So I will see the hay. Vahiseh, I will see it. I will see. And at the end is hey. So as Rabbi God will tell you, in the simple understanding, the hey is the object. I will see her. But in the soul, we learn, I will see the hay. So the Almighty is saying, I will see the hay, all this, the hay that is coming down. I will see the hay, that's what it says here. I will see the hay, and I remember the bishop. So he saw, and that, what does it mean, I will see the hay? I will see her in all her takshita, the color, the bride. The bride wears all her jewelry and all her beautiful clothes. So the Almighty says, I will see her, the hay, who is the Malchus, in all her splendor, in all her beauty. Kakala de Metkashta Megabe Bala, like a bride who is bejeweled and is decked beautifully for her husband, for her kara, for her groom. Umiyad Nota Shemayim, eat Bala Kabbalah, and immediately Note Shemayim. So the Shemayim is used Zah, the young man. So he spreads himself forward. He sees the color and he spreads himself. He opens himself, so to speak. He spreads himself. There's a certain, again, he says the Yesod, he spread, but I won't go into that so much. But he spreads himself like a drape, like a curtain to cover her. The Ati Bala Lagabeha, so then her husband, the color comes upon him to unite with him. So that represents the unity. It's a very important aspect that the male and the female have to come together. They have to unite. Why do male and female have to unite? Because that's how they create children, right? They create Toledos. That's the next generation. So therefore, there has to be a unity, a zivur, a connection between the male and the female aspect. So that happens from two aspects. Both of them are called water. The male aspect is Mayim Dachaim, male water, and the female aspect is Mayim Nuftim, it's female water. And the nature of male water is to come down towards the female, and the nature of the female water is to come up towards the male, except I say it that way, but generally we would say the opposite way, because we have what's called Hitaruta Mat, that things start below. So generally what will happen, as in here, is that the female will send her water, so to speak, her Mayim Nuftim up, and the male responds. So that's why here as well, the female aspect is like a bride, right? She's like bedecked like a bride, and therefore she has the beauty of the bride. And then when Zah sees the Malchus and her beauty, so he spreads like a yiriyah, like a curtain or a robe when he covers, and that will produce the unity of the connection between the male and the female aspect. So we're in Tikunei HaZohar. V'da'ihu raza dekav hamida di'uva. And this is also the soul of the calf. We said that there's a calf, which is the line, right? So we said that the connection between the male aspect of the higher hay and the lower hay is a vog, which is a line. So now we're going to say that this is also V'da'ihu raza dekav hamida di'uva. This is the soul of the calf, which is the vog. Mahahimi de Ihu Yud, and that comes from the Yud, which is higher, right? It contains, we said the Yud contains the Chasadim, the male aspect, and the Gvura is the female aspect. And so the Yud also now, there's another remez that we're not only talking about the numerical value of the letters, and we're not only talking about what they, we're also talking about their form, because what will happen when we see the multiplicity and the changing of the letters, that often happens because of the form of the letter. The form of the letter. For example, the hey, I'm not saying this, we're not talking about this now, but I'm just giving an example. The letter hey is a letter dalet, right? And the letter vav, with the dalet on top and on the side, and the vav in the middle. So that we also see that he has a relationship with the yud, which is it. So there, we're going to be interested in the form of the letter. So also here, we're interested in the vav, because the vav is like an extension of a yud, right? You have a yud, and then you extend it, and it becomes a longer line. Instead of a point, it becomes a longer line. We said the yud is maybe like a one-dimensional thing, and the line is two-dimensional. So the yud becomes a vav. So that's what it says, that this is the kav, which is vav, which comes from the yud, because the yud it contains, in a way, of vav. It's a paradox which we will all the time see. And we would think that the larger contains the smaller, but also the smaller contains the larger. Everything starts higher up, right? And it's hidden. It's only in the very, very finest thing, and then as it comes down, it expands and it reveals itself. So the yud contains the vav. That's what it says. He made it yud. And so after we said and we'll say again that the Shama Kaddish, the holy name, is the Yud Vav Kei, right? So then, when the Malchus will take the name, the Yud Vav Kei, so it abidas ihimida mitata leila. So then the quality that will go from below to above. There is the lesson explains that the whole of the devolution, wherever, it's not just a 1-2 process, it's a 4-aspect process. That we have Pashtut, that the higher spreads out to the lower, and then the lower will, and then it will, Histaklut, it will go away. It'll go back up to the higher, and then it'll come back again, and descend again, and expand again. So when it goes up, that's called the Chosa, the light returns. So that's what he's telling us now. He says that from the Yud will come the Vav, which will come down to the Malchus. And when that's completed through that process of the Yud Kei Vav Kei, so then it goes back again, it goes back from below to above. It says, my commentary explains that after that the Malchus takes the Shem of the Kodesh Baruch Hu, so the Tipa, which was the form of the letter Yud. Remember, we're talking now there's a little Tipa in the terms of Zivug or creation. As creation starts with the Zerah, the tiny little Zerah, which starts in the Mach of a man, and it comes down to the Pima. So that's called the Tipa, which is like a Yud. It's a little drop, right? It's a little tiny drop. So when that includes within it all the 5 Hasidim, and which is the first hay we said, and from which we have the Vav, which is the Yesod of Zah, entering and coming to Malchus, the lower hay, and now when she, so to speak, conceives and is full and accepts that, so now she will go back again and send back to the higher light, which is Orchos. Let's look at Tikunei HaZohar at this point. So now we have a very complicated section, which I'll do the best to explain as slowly as we can. So we're going to learn from the description of the Mishkan, because the description of building the Mishkan is the building of the Mishkan is reproducing the spiritual aspects from higher world into a physical aspect in the lower world. The Mishkan says, build me a Mishkan and I'll dwell amongst you in mighty cities. So the Mishkan is the creation in the physical world of spiritual aspects, so that the Almighty, in the same way that He fills the spiritual aspects above, the poor will also be able to come down and fill the physical aspect. The temple is like the very highest thing that we have in the physical world. The Tikunei HaZohar, the throne of glory, and the Kodesh Kodeshim, which is the Holy of Holies, is the very highest place in the physical world of creation. Right? So that, in the same way, let's say the Tikunei HaZohar maybe is the lowest. The Tikunei HaZohar, the throne of glory, is within the higher worlds of Atzilus. That's like the interface up there. So the Kodesh Kodeshim, the Holy of Holies, is the highest thing in the lower world. That's like the interface between the higher world and the lower. So now we're going to talk a little bit about the creation of the Mishkan, the building of the Mishkan, and its relationship to the higher world. And it says, so why is the lower hay called Chetzi Amma? So why isn't it called a hay, a complete hay, like the higher hay is called the hay was shown is called a complete Amma, and the lower one is called a Chetzi Amma. This is a remez to the measurements of the forms of the. I'm sorry, I skipped a little bit. So let's go back. It says Kamata Nikuda Yud Ihu Midala Esayu. So it says that his Yud, which is the Nikuda, which is the central point, includes 10 curves. 5 of Hasidim and 5 of Koros, and they're called areas. They're called like curves because they spread out, and it's related to the letter Vav because the Vav spreads out. We said before, the Vav extends and spreads itself. So the Malchus, which receives the tipper from Zah, which is 6 Vav, So then it's Kalila Me Esa Amos. That is included with Esa Amos, 10 Amos, because we said the Yud is 10. And the Malchus contains 10 spheres, right? Malchus is the lower sphere, and it contains all the higher spheres. So she contains all the 10 spheres. And that's why it said, Esa Amos Orech HaKosh, that the length of the Kosh, which is the beam in the Mishkan, was 10 amos. Let's see, Shmos Kafov Tetzayim. Shmos Kafov. It says, and you'll make the beams or the planks of the Mishkan from acacia wood, 10 amos each. Each plank is 10 amos, right? And then it says that for amma v'chetzi amma, and the width is 1.5. So you see that the plank is like a vav, right? So the form of a plank is like the form of the letter vav. That's what it is, and it's 10 amos long. So now, that's what it says. You should make the 10 amos is the length of the keresh of the vav, and this is the yud. The ima hey iva. So then it says, and it is 1.5 vav. So the Zohar, the Tikunei Zohar wants to learn when it's 1.5 wide, that the 1 is the higher hay and the half is the lower. So therefore we have the yud comes down again, and it forms a hay at the top. Then we have a vav, and then we have a hay at the bottom. But suddenly we see that the hay at the top is complete. It's a mammal, but the hay at the bottom is only a half a mammal, right? So it says, the hay, the higher hay is a mammal, and the lower one is a half a mammal. And so now it's going to ask the question, why is the lower hay only a half? Why is the higher hay, which is in the higher world, it's a full animal? Then we have the vav coming down, and then the lower hay should be the same. Why should the lower hay be half the size? So why does it say? So it says, Kigonda itkle matzah pusha lechem. Because when you break the matzah on Pesach, that's called lechem. Poor man's bread. It means that because now we are coming from the higher world down into the lower world, even though Malchus is that. It's at the end of it. We're coming down. This process is bringing us down to the lower world. So this lower world we live in is a world of unease. It's a poor world. We don't have all the light. We don't have that tremendous glory of light. We don't have any sense what it is of the higher hay. So we're already coming down. So therefore, although the Mishkan is built in the model of the higher world, we get down to the lower hay, the end of it, it's only half. It's like half the what's lechem. So okay, so I think we'll stop there. If I can find some stuff.
It's interesting though, you say it's 1.5 as a measure, and he breaks it up into 1.5.
Why does he break it up into 2 3/4? Because the higher is full. That's what it's explained to. At the higher measure, first hay, which was